Hi guys, so I a few days ago uploaded a video called Fool of the Week, and in that Fool of the Week video I described how Labour MP Chris Bryant retweeted an image that was ironically first tweeted by right-wing pro-Brexit talk radio. Now, in case you haven't seen the video, the offending image was one that was photoshopped to make an empty supermarket filler contain insults to Brexit and Brexiteers. Well, talk radio, which originally tweeted the image, wasn't too happy about this, and they had on Peter Bone, Tory MP and arch Brexiteer, to give his opinion on all of this.
I want to talk to you about the fact that some MPs, namely Chris Bryant, thinks Brexiteers are thick. I mean, what's your take on this?
Well, I haven't seen that comment.
Well, he basically said Brexiteers are thick.
Well, the thing is, and I think you alluded to this earlier, that if you can't win the argument, you attack the person.
Sorry, win what argument? The argument that Brexit is a success? What is the argument here, Peter? Is it we were able to convince people to vote against their own interest? Oh, then you won that argument, yes. If this is about the Brexit vote, people like you and your friends in the media convinced people to vote against their own interests. They ended privileges that they had when they were members of the European Union. Was that winning the argument? Is it because the others weren't able to lie, or lie to the extent that Brexiteers could lie, that was winning the argument? Unless the argument is something else.
Instead of playing the ball, you play the player. And I think Chris Bryant, who was a huge fan of remaining in the EU, loves the EU, he's lost the argument. Brexit has proved to be a success. The fact that we had the vaccination program is because we weren't in the European Medical Agency.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. Peter, why are you telling lies? And why is the commentator here not correcting you? Because this is common knowledge. This is Dr. Jane Rain from the UK Medical Regulatory Authority. So let's hear what she had to say about this argument that it was necessary to leave the European Union in order to roll out the vaccine.
We have been able to authorise the supply of this vaccine using provisions under European law which exist until the 1st of January. So our speed or our progress has been totally dependent on the availability of data in our rolling review and the rigorous assessment and independent advice we have received. So I hope that clarifies the point about the European relationship.
Okay, well, it clarifies it for me. I don't know if it clarifies it for Peter or for Talk Radio. It was not necessary to leave the European Union in order to roll out the vaccine. Now, is that your argument for winning the argument? Then you have no argument. You have lost the argument. Look, are Brexiteers thick? Well, there's a difference between people who voted for Brexit and Brexiteers. People who voted for Brexit, many of them regret it. They were lied to. They realized they were lied to. If you don't believe me, ask some fishermen or farmers. They were convinced by charlatans and crooks and liars, politicians mainly, but also their friends in the media. Now, many people have turned around and said that was a mistake. Those people are not thick. They were conned. The people who continue to say that Brexit is a success and can't actually point to a benefit, or when they point to a benefit, I am, just me, a 2-bit YouTuber, is able to demolish their argument, then I'm sorry, you're thick.
Yeah. So he can't win the argument, so he attacks the players. And I think on reflection, Chris Bryant will probably think that was a bit of a silly remark and he should really apologise for it.
What he did was he retweeted a picture of some Sainsbury's shelves, right?
That was originally put up there on Twitter by Talk Radio.
Right, and on the shelves, instead of there being food and stuff, right, there was just signs. It was basically like, you voted for this. If you were a Brexiteer, you're thick. There was some pretty fruity language in there, is what it's fair to say. If you voted for Brexit and you voted for the Tories, you need to get out of here, yada, yada, yada. So he retweets this, okay? And then he deletes his retweet, but apologises because he didn't see the language. He didn't apologise for
can I ask, what is the point in having Peter Bone on if Peter Bone doesn't understand what they're talking about? Like, what is the point in asking Peter Bone's opinion if he hadn't seen the tweet, he hadn't seen the retweet, he hadn't seen the image itself? You're asking Peter Bone to give his opinion on something he has no understanding of. What's the point of that?
Leading to the fact that all Brexiteers are thick. 54% of his own constituents voted for Brexit, for goodness sake. I mean, are we going to...
Once again, there's a difference between voters and Brexiteers. Voters are people who were convinced to vote for Brexit. Some of them. I don't think the majority of people in the UK still believe that Brexit was a good idea. Now, a majority of Brexiteers still think Brexit was a good idea, but a lot of them are boneheads.
Just kick him out, do you think?
Well, I don't agree with Chris Bryant on his policies. And I just think when you do that, you show that you've lost the argument. Yeah. And Chris,
who has lost the argument here, Peter? Your argument was a benefit of Brexit is the rollout of the vaccine. I have used an expert. I, a 2-bit YouTuber, have given you expert advice, an expert opinion on the situation. And you still believe that Brexit was a good idea. Now, can you imagine if I had actually spoken to Peter and presented this? Do you think Peter would be the type of person who would say, okay, you're right, I'll stop using that argument? Or do you think Peter would continue to use the argument that it was necessary to leave the European Union? Because I believe that if you present me evidence, then I'll stop believing the falsehood. If I have an opinion on something, you present me evidence to show that that opinion was incorrect, then I'll stop believing it. But Brexiteers, when you demonstrate to them that they are incorrect, they ignore it and they continue to believe it. That's definition of being thick, is it not?
This is should be fair-minded and say he shouldn't have said that. He's insulting.
He didn't say it. Once again, he's not the one who said it. It was an image, a photoshopped image that was originally posted there by Talk Radio. So once again, what's the point in having Peter Bone on if Peter Bone doesn't know what the hell he's talking about? Chris did not say this. It was an image that he retweeted. Now, did he agree with the image? Probably. I agree with the image. But you're blaming Chris for writing something that he didn't write. There's a difference there.
More than half the country. And it's...
No, it was more than half the country that voted for Brexit back in 2016. It's not more than half the country that still believe Brexit is a success. Because if more than half the country believe that Brexit is a success, then we would see benefits of Brexit everywhere. Where are these benefits? Where are these unicorns? The only one I've heard so far is the vaccine rollout. But that's not true.
It's just not what you should do as a politician. You should argue about the policy. You shouldn't argue about the people. I mean, to say that over half the country is thick, it's just a silly thing to say.
Once again, he didn't say it. And even if he did say it, he's talking about Brexiteers, not the voters. And once again, unfortunately, Brexiteers are not capable of separating the voters from Brexiteers. Brexiteers think everyone who voted for Brexit is a Brexiteer. No. Many people were convinced by lies. Many people thought that things would get better, but things have gotten worse. So you can't say that over half the population are Brexiteers. No, they're not. Let me know in the comments section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?